Hello, everyone. This is Michael Moore. This is my podcast. Welcome once again. The election for President of the United States and all the other, at least every seat in the House of Representatives and a third of the seats in the Senate. That election is exactly 3 months. 3 months from right now. That's it. That's what we've got. 3 months, which in weeks, because a couple of these months are 31-day months. I don't think I need to explain this to you, but the nuns are still with me, so this is how I was trained. But basically, it's 14 weeks from tomorrow. So tomorrow, Tuesday, obviously, is the election day, Tuesday, November 5th. This is Monday, August 4th. 14 weeks from tomorrow. Wow. We can do this. I mean, think about this. I mean, I know it's like we just got the candidate 14 days ago, yesterday. And already so much is in motion. So many things have happened. So much money has been raised by small donations. So many hundreds of thousands have volunteered to be volunteers, to knock on doors, to make calls, to do whatever needs to be done to end the madness of Donald Trump, have him out of our lives once and for all. 3 months from today is our chance to do that. I was on Ari Melber last week and just, trying to figure out Trump and the things he was saying and the things that he did when he went to the convention with black journalists and those 3 black women. Oh my God, it was, if you haven't seen this, I've got to post this. I want you to watch the whole thing. It's not that long. It's 34 minutes of Trump meeting his Inquisition. 3 smart, pointed, black women. It's like the last play. He must have walked on that stage and thought he was in the 7th, 8th, and 9th ring of hell. And they didn't waste any time. Rachel Scott from ABC just went right at him with, guess what? Journalism. Actual questions. And he didn't know what to do. And she went down the whole list of his history as a racist. His birther stuff with Obama. The stuff when he was in his 20s with his dad. It was just one thing after another. And his first response to her was that he'd never heard a first question from a journalist as nasty and as rude as that was. And of course he loves, his one of his narrative themes through his life is that there are 2 genders. Men, of course, and nasty women. And he just thought he couldn't get over how nasty that she was by asking a very pertinent journalistic question. Why are you here, considering you have a 50-year history of one racist remark after another, and not just remarks, actions, paying for a full-page ad in the New York newspaper, calling for the execution of 4 young black men who were all innocent, who committed no crime, but were charged with the assault and rape of a white woman, a jogger in Central Park. Not only charged, lies, all this, so much about, if watch Ava DuVernay's limited series on it, if you really want to see this really played out. It's not a documentary, but it's a fact-based drama on what these 4 young men had to go through and how their lives were ruined and how they were all sent to prison for varying amounts of time, if I remember correctly, from like a decade to, I think the one that was in there the longest might have been up to 14, 17 years for being innocent, completely innocent. Well, they caught the guy. And of course they didn't want to undo their sentences. The New York prosecutor, the New York City police. No. But they got out. They got some remuneration for it. They didn't get their lives back. But one of them last year got elected to the New York City Council, which was such a cool moment to see him sworn in as the person who was going to make the laws and be in charge, one of the many people who sit on the New York City Council in charge of the city. I don't think that still doesn't make up for what happened, but damn it. But Trump, she asked him that question and he was just flabbergasted. He couldn't believe it. And I'm sure I don't know, maybe I'm not sure. But I was shocked he didn't just get up and walk out. Because they also announced that PolitiFact, during the interview with him on the stage, online, PolitiFact was going to be live fact-checking in the moment. Every time he said something, they would instantly fact-check it and put it up on the screen if you wanted to have that as one of the windows on your screen to tell you whether what he just said was true or not. Which is what you would do. That's the only way you could ever allow him on the airwaves, unless that bonus screen was up there saying, lie, here's the facts, here's the truth, half lie. Yeah, half lie. I know. Hey, well, he's human. He can mess up sometimes and tell a half truth, which is still a lie. Anyways, I'll send this out to you here sometime in the next few days, this week or whatever, because it's powerful. And every American citizen, every voter, and all of you listening throughout the world, just if you really, I know what you already think about Trump, but wait till you hear this. So it's been one of those weeks. It's been one of those 2 weeks since 2 weeks ago when Kamala Harris was named by Biden as her successor. It's not quite the actual legal way we do things here, but I don't hear anybody complaining right now because all those pundits, all those Democratic Party pundits, not all of them though. Thank God for Nancy Pelosi and Hakeem Jeffries, because they knew what America saw. You can't unsee what we all saw on the debate on June 27th. And it was just stunning how many people that we like, who sit in Congress, who write for our papers, tried to tell us that what we saw didn't happen. There's nothing wrong with Biden. Hey, he's just getting old. We're all getting old. Oh my God. Now, after 2 weeks of Kamala Harris, can you imagine, have we not fixed this? Thank you, everybody who supported me in saying, you know, the podcast I put out a couple days there after the debate and what I wrote online was done with love and concern and care for him as a human being, as an elderly person. I just thought it was awful that he was made to go out on that stage. Where are his people who should have prevented that? To make him suffer out there like that for 94 minutes. It's just, I couldn't believe it. This is why you've got people that love you, people that are looking out for you. And he was just left out there, sent out there, left out there. And then they tell us the next day, oh, he had a cold. Wow. Stunning, wasn't it? Just a reminder that even the good people on our side sometimes have a hard time just saying the truth. Because sometimes the truth is difficult. Sometimes it's the awful truth. And in those moments, that's when we discover who we really are. Are we going to really be honest with ourselves and everybody else and say what just happened? And as the days went on and Joe Biden did other interviews and he called Zelensky, the president of Ukraine, referred to him as President Putin. He referred to Vice President Harris as Vice President Trump. I don't need to go over all this with you. Look, it's fixed. And to Biden's credit, men, you know what we're talking about here. Our way is to dig in, be intractable, unmovable. He didn't do that. He tried to dig in. And I think the good that we know about him, that good part, couldn't pull it off. Thank God. And of course, as you know, because you've been listening to me now for 10 months, and you've been reading my writings about this, and you've seen me on television, the sad part, just as they were talking last week about the 50th anniversary of the Civil Rights Act 50 years ago, this past month, Lyndon Johnson picked up all of the civil rights stuff that John F. Kennedy wanted to do when he died the previous year and got it all passed. This Texan, former Texan senator, vice president to Kennedy, got all the civil rights legislation passed that Kennedy had on the table. And yet, that's not what we remember Lyndon Johnson for, is it? We remember him in his invasion of Vietnam, lying, him and his people, his Pentagon, lying to us about being attacked by the North Vietnamese, a fake incident in the Gulf of Tonkin, a resolution passed in the Senate the next day or two after this so-called event in the Gulf of Tonkin. And out of the 100 senators, 2 voted no against having a war. 2. Wayne Morse and Ernest Gruning. Okay, so they were both Democrats. That means they had to vote against their Democratic president, Lyndon Johnson, and their Democratic Senate. Wow. I don't think they've not ever really allowed a real war resolution since that day with Congress for us to legally and officially go to war. Ever since then, it's been all sort of police actions or whatever the legal term is. I might be wrong. There might be 1 or 2, but I think they learned their lesson on this day because they didn't even want 2 senators voting against it. And as you've heard me say on this podcast and in my writings and on TV, Biden's fatal flaw, just like Lyndon Johnson when he started the Vietnam War, that killed at least 2 million Vietnamese, another 1 million or 2 of Southeast Asians. That's what we remember Lyndon Johnson for. And what Biden is going to be remembered for, not the infrastructure bill, sorry. It's going to be that he became the bank for Benjamin Netanyahu. He funded an invasion, not a defense of Israel, which I think probably most people listening to this not opposed to protecting the lives of human beings. No. Biden gave Netanyahu money beyond what we already give them, billions more, to fund his slaughter of the Palestinian people in Gaza. At this count, 40,000 civilians dead. So many children. So many elderly people. Just awful. Not only the money, but gave him more weapons, more bombs, sending in another battleship here tomorrow. It's not about defense. It's offense. And it's offensive. And again, I don't know what happened with Biden. I'm just going to actually just chalk it up to the fact that he's been in decline for the better part of the last year. They hid it from us. You've read the stories in the Times and the Washington Post and elsewhere. They've hid this from us. He didn't have a cabinet meeting for 9 months They didn't want people to see his condition. Okay. I get it and I don't get it. But the president who back in the beginning of last September refused by Netanyahu's request that while he's in the U.S. for the UN annual meeting, that he come down to D.C. and have a grin and grip with Joe Biden in the White House. And Biden said, no, I don't want him here. He's indicted on at least 3 felonies, bribery, fraud, other things. No, I'm not. I don't want him. No meeting. I mean, he snubbed him. And he was already, Biden was paying attention to how tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of Israelis were demonstrating in the street against him. People wanted him out of there. He was trying to wreck their judicial system, on and on. Not invited to the White House. I don't think that had happened. Usually that's the routine. The Prime Minister of Israel comes for UN week and then pops down to D.C. for a howdy hi and the photo op of letting people in Israel know that we haven't given up on them. Biden refused him. Just a little over a month later, you see a much diminished Biden on a plane, getting off a plane in Israel to go there and hug Benjamin Netanyahu and promise him the moon, whatever he wanted, essentially a blank check. He did warn him. He wasn't that far gone yet, but he did warn him, don't make our mistake, he said, that what we did after 9/11. But Netanyahu was just laughing inside of himself with the admonition from Biden. Netanyahu was going to do exactly what he wanted to do, and he did it. And that is Joe Biden's legacy too, in addition to all the other good things we've talked about. I mean, just the fact that the war on Gaza, on the Palestinian people, is funded and is armed by you and us through our democratic president was already hurting Biden with young people, with Arab Americans, with Jewish Americans who believe in peace, with all the rest of us that just were saddened by the response and the slaughter. Saddened because we were already so sad already by the slaughter of the Israelis there on October 7th. And how many of us, right, thinking in the days after that, please don't do what we did after 9/11. Like Biden said, he said, do not let your rage get the best of you. Well, we didn't follow that advice, and neither did Netanyahu. But he had a bigger plan. He's had it for a long time. So part of this is us thinking, how are we going to save the Democrats? How are we going to stop Trump? So here we are, 2 weeks and a day past Kamala Harris being our candidate to run against and defeat Donald Trump. And so I thought what would be a good idea, I've wanted to do this for some time now, and so this will be the first of a series of podcasts and Substacks. If you read my printed column on my Substack site, which is at michaelmoore.com, very easy to find. What I want to do is I want to give all of you a 2024 election toolkit. All right. I've been putting this together, the things that each of us can do, what we can do, things I can give you, places I can send you, ideas that maybe aren't going to be discussed by the local Democrats or whatever, or the pundits on TV, things that I've learned over the years that work in order to get out the vote, in order to win elections that can't be won. And a couple years ago, if you remember, in the 2022 midterm, we did this series called Blue Dots in a Red Sea. It was a series to stop the predicted red wave. Do you remember this? We were told that the Republicans were going to kick such ass in the midterms in 2022 that they might pick up at least 40 new seats in the United States House of Representatives. Do you remember that? And I'm like, where are these people? What moon are they on? Where do they live? Republicans aren't going to pick up anything. They're going to lose. They're going to lose seats. And so I wrote to you. I came on my podcast and I told you, this is, again, this is me now talking. This is the one who told you that Trump was going to be the president of the United States. He was going to win the 2016 election. I did not want to have to say that to you. I took no joy in it, but I needed to warn you and warn the country that he was going to lose, as I said, Michigan, Wisconsin, and Pennsylvania. I was laughed at when I went on TV to say this. I was booed on the Bill Maher show by the audience, not by Bill, but by the audience. And in the morning of the election in November of 2016, that morning, the New York Times on the front page had this little thermometer thing that said that there is an 85% chance that Hillary is going to win the presidency today. 85% chance, only a 15% chance of Trump winning. That was in the morning. By 2:24 a.m. later that night, we had a new president, and his name was Donald Trump. Again, no joy in any of that. So when 2022 came around, and I did this series on my podcast here telling you how we are not going to have a red wave, the Republicans are not going to take over even more than they have. We're going to have the Senate back in our hands, and we're going to have the tightest House, the fewest number of seats between us and the Republicans, like single digits. That's how close. And that's what it ended up being. And because of people resigning and death and whatever, pretty much now on any given vote, we just need to convince 4 Republicans out of 220, say, to vote with us. And there are just enough moderate, I don't want to say liberal, but moderate Republicans, or Republicans that are in districts that Biden won by 10 to 20 percentage points, that they're not going to get reelected this year if they vote with the crazies, the MAGA heads in Congress. And so that's why, in part, Biden's been able to get through a lot of bills. A lot of his early bills got passed because the Republicans were so beaten down, first by Biden's election itself and the seats we picked up that election, and then by the midterms not being a red wave, being a nice blue wall. Sometime, many years ago, I was the youngest person, or I should say one of the youngest. There were a number of 18-year-olds elected that year. And then I decided to run for the Board of Education where I lived in Michigan. So having served as an elected official, having won an election, I had no business winning. I had learned a lot of things in that election of how to get elected. And so I thought, what I should be doing right now with this election is giving you some of those things that I learned I don't know how many years ago it was. God, it feels like 50 years. Is that possible? Jeez. No. Yes. Wow. Okay. Well, you get my point. I have some experience with this. And I have some experience of being able to have my finger on the pulse of what I think is going on in the country, especially in middle America, especially in working class America. That's how I grew up. So this is what we're going to do today. I have put together Mike's election 2024 campaign kit for you. And we're not going to go through it all today. I'm just going to give you maybe the first 3 things or so that we can all do, and we should do it, and we should do it right now. I mean, do it today if you can. If you can't do it today, do it tomorrow. But let's just get started. These are not necessarily the things that people are going to suggest that you do. These are going to be the things that I've seen work. They worked for me. I think they'll work for you where you live. And then over the next, couple of weeks, I'll add to the kit. I'll give you new things. Like, especially I've got something for those of you who live in a state where you're thinking, I have no real say in this election. I already know how this state's going to go. Everybody does. It's not true. I mean, yes, it is. Certain Mississippi is going to go red, as will Alabama, and New York and California, Oregon, Illinois will be blue. But there are things you can do from these other states, and I'm going to give you some of those things that you can do. And I want to tell you that those of you who live in 26 states, you border a swing state. So right now they're saying there's like 7 states that are going to decide the election. Michigan, Wisconsin, Pennsylvania, same 3 from 2016. And then Arizona, Georgia, North Carolina, possibly New Hampshire, possibly Virginia. But those of you who live in those 26 states that are not swing states, but border a swing state, I'm going to talk to you about what you can do as a neighbor. I'm going to talk to you about a little weekend family trip. Get in the car for an hour or 2 or 3 and go where people can use your help desperately. I'll talk about all this in the coming days and weeks of other things we can and should be doing. But today I want to just read to you some of the stuff I've written up on my campaign kit here, my toolkit for you. All right, so I've been promising you this for a couple of weeks now, a blueprint, a strategy that beginning today, don't put this off, okay, my friends? Beginning today, all of us working together, we can use this blueprint and strategy to actually, once and for all, end the career of a political arsonist. The man who attempted to overthrow the duly elected government of the United States of America. That's right. I'm talking about the 34-time convicted felon, the self-admitted sexual abuser, and the one-time dean of Trump University, Donald J. Trump. And this is it. This, my friends, is how we do it. We have 92 days before we can live in a better world. And today, what I'm going to do is give you the first item to place in your 2024 election toolkit. And this is how Trump will meet his fate. You, me, this toolkit, and millions of Americans who will be engaged and unforgiving over these next 3 months. And listen, although this toolkit does have the blessing of many in my, progressive family around the country of activists, writers, nonviolent rebels, it has not been approved by the Democratic National Committee, which is fine. I mean, I did run it by people that you would respect in D.C. who were happy to read my ideas here. And all of them agreed that nothing I'm suggesting to you in this podcast is wrong or inappropriate. And in fact, I was told it was actually better that you and me, are doing our own sort of rogue operation. In some ways, to some of us, it's what we've had to do in the past. saving the Democrats from themselves, saving the party from itself. So I was talking to one longtime party stalwart in D.C. when I was talking about this election toolkit here. And he reminded me how that in the past, the public attitude of, just leave it to the Democrats was really not always the wisest thing to do. This is a Democrat telling me this, right? He said, twice in just 16 years, we won the popular vote in 2000 and 2016, but lost the election? How do you pull that off? So he says to me, tell your people on your podcast, don't just sit there and think down here there's a bunch of Democratic Party geniuses who are going to defeat Trump. We can't do that. Certainly not by ourselves. We need all the help we can get. Wow. Well, I thought, point taken. So before I continue, I'd like to take a moment to thank our underwriter for this week's episode, a longtime supporter of this podcast. If you've got an idea for an online shop, perhaps maybe to support your nonprofit or your school, your family, your hip hop band or rock extravaganza, whatever it is, check out Shopify, because Shopify is the global commerce platform that's used by millions of people around the globe, including our podcast. You don't need to know how to code or design. You just bring your ideas and Shopify will help you open up shop. If you already have an online store up and running, Shopify has an extensive help resources office with all kinds of tips and tools to help support your success at every stage. So, whether you're just starting out or you're looking to grow the shop that you've got, Shopify has got you covered. Sign up for a $1 per month trial period at shopify.com/rumble. And Rumble is all in lowercase. Go to shopify.com/rumble now to grow your business no matter what stage you're in. Shopify.com/rumble. And thank you, Shopify, for supporting this podcast and for supporting my voice. So this is what I thought. We just have to do basically two things. One, we will all work to ensure that Donald Trump is never president again. And two, we will elect a strong Congress that will give President Harris the Democratic majorities in the House and the Senate that she needs in order to accomplish her and our agenda. And by now, I think she has given enough speeches in the first couple of weeks. We've got a pretty clear idea what that agenda is. The restoration of full women's rights. Protect all of our freedoms, ensure healthcare, elder care, and child care for all. End all voter suppression and undemocratic actions. Get the money out of politics. Stop the slaughter in Palestine. Cease fire immediately. Reform the Supreme Court. Create an economic democracy that allows the working class and the middle class to thrive. Make the rich pay their taxes and save this beautiful planet. So anyways, here's how my battle plan works. I'm going to give you, it's in steps. We're going to do like 3 steps today. Please, you can rewind this and play it. There'll be a transcript of this, or actually you could just read my written Substack from a couple of days ago, because it's essentially very close to the same thing here. And I'll put the link of that here on my podcast page. Okay, so here you go. You ready, everybody? All right, and please share this with family, friends, neighbors, co-workers, whatever. Step number 1. Step number 1 is get your head straight. Get your head screwed on straight and get your game face on. Because we will not win unless we understand and own this one basic fact. We are the majority. What? I know we've been down for so long. It's hard to actually, can we really say that with a straight face? We are the majority. Oh yeah. Yes, you can, my friends. And I'm going to send you something later this week where you'll have all the facts and all the research that my team and I have been doing over the last month so that you can say this proudly. We are the majority, not the Trumpsters, not the Republicans, not the people who believe in all the things that make life extremely difficult for a lot of our fellow Americans. Who is America? It's us. It's us. The people who believe in the things that we believe in. We are the majority. And who knows that better than we do? The other side. The Trumpsters, MAGA Nation, knows that we're the majority. They know the majority of Americans don't agree with them. That's why Trump is on his way to losing the popular vote again for the third time. That's why they're all so angry and so hateful and have no intention of losing in November. So that's why our own heads, we have to be in an all or nothing, we're in the game mode here. All in, all of us. We're going to set aside our criticisms and complaints and the fact that the world is not going to be the way we would run it, because we are not running. And if we wanted the world to be exactly the way we'd like to see it, maybe one of us should be running. Bernie tried. There are people, good people, in the wings. And maybe you're one of them. But until that day happens, it's a race now between Kamala Harris and Donald Trump. So no more talk. No more yakety yak here. No more political rhetoric right now. We right now have only 3 months from today before the election. That means that we must take, all of us, action every day. There's no way we're going to pull this off unless we do that. So I want to give you 3 quick things that you can do actually today. All right? Here's number 1. Go public. Go public. You. Yeah, I'm talking to you. I know you're not a public person, but you have a few people in your life, right? You need to inspire them by proudly proclaiming that you're voting for Harris. And if we all do this, it may actually possibly save the country and change the world. Again, it won't be the way you want it to be, but we're not voting for you. So let's get this right. Start by going public. And by the way, here's how you do it. You're online right now, right? Because you're listening to me. Well, maybe you've got earbuds and you're on a walk. Okay. Well, when you get back home. But if you're on a computer right now, if you're on your phone listening to me, then I want to ask you to do something right now. I would like you to just pause this podcast and write a brief 20-word, 50-word, maybe 100-word, if you're like me, your own thing that you call, let's just call it my declaration for President Kamala Harris. That's it. Just a note. And you're going to send it to 20 friends and family members. You need to tell them why you are probably not a political person necessarily. And you don't usually send emails or texts like this, but today you've got to do it. You need to tell them why it's a new day in America for you. Why there's no more important job for any of us right now, from now until November 5th, to stop Trump, to elect the first woman president of the United States. Enough is enough. Make sure they feel that from you as you write these few sentences. Let them know we are not going back to the 1950s. Our daughters will have complete control over their bodies and their lives. People in their 40s must no longer believe they will never own their own home. That is not the America I choose to live in. Every American must have access to the care they need without having to consider the cost of it. Whether it's health care, dental care, mental care, elder care, child care. We need to stop living like this. We are out of time, my friends. Invite these good people in your life that you're going to send this note to join you in this mission between now and November 5th. I mean, seriously. And start a thread with them. Start a text thread with them right away. You can even name it. You could call it We're for Kamala, our Kamala Crusade, Hurry for Harris, whatever. I mean, just make up your own thing or have no name to it at all. Just start texting the 20 people. Put them all on the thread. Most, I think, will join you. They love you. That's number one, okay? You can do that right now. Stop right now listening to me or wait till I'm done here next few minutes. Number 2, today, make your own handmade yard sign. That's right. You're going to publicly declare you're for Harris. The usual ones the campaign puts out, because the campaign's only 2 weeks old, they're not ready yet, but they're printing them now. They say they'll be ready by mid to late August here. We can't wait. That's why you need to do one. You know, you need to get out a piece of cardboard and some magic markers. You're doing this because you're making the campaign yours now. It's not just Vice President Harris's or the party apparatus. It's you and me. You and me are going to make this happen. You and me. And a few million other Americans who are going to work their butts off. Make this yard sign. Make it festive. Make it happy. Then go out and put it on your front lawn, or if you live in an apartment building, put it in your apartment window. Make a little ceremony out of it. You know, take the sign out in front of your house, bring your family out, invite a couple neighbors, bring out your cats. There's an unveiling ceremony taking place. Bring out a boombox, put on some Beyonce or Springsteen or whatever appropriate music you think for the occasion. Because what you're doing, you're saving your democracy on your street, the very street you live on. And as soon as people in the neighborhood start to see this, you're going to find out friends you didn't know you had. Will it upset a few people? Yes, that's okay. You don't have an angry sign. You've seen the Trump signs as you've gone down the road, right? Take America back. Make America great. Make America great. Again and again and again and again. Big flags, angry flags, using our American flag as a way to be angry. No, that's not you. You're going to put it out there. People are going to love you for it. And as soon as we get some bumper stickers, you're going to get a bumper sticker on your laptop, in your car, and your backpack, because we have no time to lose. Okay, so number 1, right? First thing you're going to do is write to your 20 friends and family and tell them we're all in for Harris and we all need to get to work right now and sign up for this thing with Michael Moore, because he's going to be sending us things for the campaign toolkit here. Number 2, you're going to go make a yard sign with your kids right now, or make it by yourself. You know, I've already made mine. It's pretty bad. The nuns gave me a D in art. Unfair, I thought. Every year, I thought, unfair. But that's okay. They were good to me in many other ways. That's number 2. the yard sign. Number 3, you need to find out where the offices in your town, your neighborhood, for the local Democrats, the local Democratic organization. Find out where that is. You probably can find it. Google it. And you need to go there today. Even if you don't have the time, just at least stop by there. Pull up, pull in, walk into the place, and announce yourself. There won't be trumpets or anything. Just so when you announce yourself, don't do it like you're, Prince William or King Charles. You need to walk into that office and just say, "Put me to work." Now, don't be too disappointed if they look at you like, "Who is this crazy person? What are you talking about? Put you to work. We don't even know what we're doing here yet." That's okay. It's all early. All right. But don't wait for them to say anything. Just go pick up a broom. There's a broom over there in the corner. Grab the broom. Start sweeping the place. Offer to make some calls. Offer to make some coffee. Make more yard signs. You already started that an hour ago. You're a pro at it now. I mean, trust me, my friends. Just doing the physical act of anything, something, whatever, it will feel exhilarating to you. Especially because you know that millions of others across the country right now are doing the same thing. Everybody is off the bench. Everybody in the pool. Right? That's what it's been like for 2 weeks. And now you're in the pool. Those are the 3 things. Write a note to 20 people. Get them to start a thread with you. Get them to sign up here on my email list here. It's for all free. So they get all the notices you get. Then make your handmade yard sign and plant it in your lawn or put it in your apartment window. Find out where your local Democratic storefront office is, whatever. Go there. If it's closed, leave them a note on the door. Call me. I came to work. That's it. That's not a lot. All of us have the time to do that. I did it yesterday. You do it today. If you're listening to this later in the day here, then do it tomorrow. But you can write the note to the 20 people, no matter what time it is. So anyways, those 3 things, that's step 1, going public. Here's step 2. You plus 3 makes America free. My friends, let's just be honest. The only way we will overcome the tens of millions of Trumpsters who are definitely going to show up and vote is for every single one of us to get 3 other people to vote with us. Whether it's going that day to the polls in person with them, whether it's going over to their home and helping them fill out their absentee ballot, whether it's getting them an absentee ballot, whether it's going with them to put it in the drop box, whatever it takes. Think of 3 people. This could even be a relative that lives 2,000 miles away. You guys are going to be in touch now. You're going to have your own kind of fall relationship here with each other in a way you haven't done that before. Talking about this great day that this is all leading to. And how the 2 of you and 2 others, 2 other people that you've identified that are going to vote. That will make your vote, your 1 vote count as 4 in a legal way, not the way the Trumpsters talk about. But just because you identified people, and here's the thing here, when you do this, we're talking about not necessarily getting strangers to do this. That's hard. The priority is to identify friends, coworkers, classmates, neighbors, or family members who maybe it's likely they're probably not going to vote Think of the people you know in your life that are non-voters. By the way, oftentimes that's the majority of the country. So it's not hard to find non-voters. You want to identify those non-voters in your life, but the ones who have the good heart, the ones that you know if they did vote, of course they'd vote for the things that Kamala Harris and you and I believe in. You obviously don't want to go and convince Trumpsters in your family to vote. They already know what to do. They're already angry enough, and they don't want to talk to you anyways. Okay, so that's the key, is identify people that you think probably won't vote, but you're going to see to it that they do by being a loving friend, relative, neighbor, etc. Because I want to introduce a mantra here to this toolkit. And it goes like this. If you vote by yourself, in other words, it's just you you're thinking about. It's just you alone, filling out the ballot, going to the polls, this, whatever. If you vote by yourself, we will lose. I mean, let's face it, we're behind the 8 ball here. We've got a candidate that's 2 weeks old. To pull this off, we need to have as much cushion, as much support as possible. That's why it can't just be about you. Well, I voted. So what? We still lost by 1.5 million votes. You needed to bring 3 other people with you to the polls. You needed to convince them across the country where they live to do what you're doing when you're doing it. That's the key, my friends. And I think what I usually do is I'll make up a list of 6 people that fit this bill. Good people that I know that maybe probably aren't planning to vote. Of course, and that'd be the first thing I ask them, are you guys planning to vote this year? I know it's kind of a crazy year, and don't sound, judgmental or threatening or whatever. And some of them will tell you, oh, hell yeah, I'm voting. Well, I really hope it's voting for Vice President Harris. They might go, hell no, I'm not voting for her. I heard she wasn't even born here. I'm not laughing. But I think mostly you're going to hear, well, yeah, I usually don't vote though. I wasn't going to vote this year. Well, that should be music to your ears. Because all you've got to do now of these 6 is just convince 3 of them. Take them, help them, fill out that ballot, take them to the polls. Make a day out of it, make a lunch out of it. Hey, on election day, how about you and I will go vote? My precinct's on the other side of town. Okay, I'll come, I'll vote, and then I'll go with you to vote at your precinct, and then let's go grab lunch. Do something that make it not feel so cold and harsh. Let them see how much you care about this country and how much you care about them and their livelihood. I'm basically asking you to become their voting mentor, to be their emotional support citizen. What do they call that when the people that need to bring a dog on the plane? Emotional support pet, something like that. Animal. Well, that's you. Except you're the human form of that. You're going to be this voter, maybe even a new voter, their emotional support citizen. Or think of yourself as their democracy doula. You all know what a doula is, right? I'll wait while you look it up. No, it's not a midwife, not a doctor, but it's that little extra help. It'd be nice to have if you're having a baby. You know what I'm saying? Everybody knows. Everybody would like a little extra help with anything. Be their doula. voting this year, my friends, must be a group activity. So it's each of us plus 3 that we're going to get to vote. That's step 2. Step 3 is, again, this is also just kind of a psychological thing. You need to know that you are not alone. And as bad as these Trump years have felt, as bad as this war has felt, this cannot defeat us. We have to pull ourselves out of our despair. We have a chance with Kamala Harris. And we need to join in community with each other. It's a mass community, though, my friends, of millions. And we need to do that. That's step 3. And you need to decide to do it today. You need, whether it's signing up for something or joining something or being with other humans. You can't do this alone. Neither can I. We're all in this together. We sink or swim together. I'd rather not sink. I'd rather swim. So start by, if you're not signed up with me here, sign up. Just hit the subscribe button on this thing. It's free. Some prompts may come up or whatever. It's free. Just hit the free part. And I'll send you these notices. I'll let you know what we're all doing. I'll give you examples, ideas other people are doing in their small towns or neighborhoods across the country. So sign up here. And sign up with the local Dems. They're giving it their best shot. They could use your help, your expertise, your ideas. Or connect with a student group if you're a student on campus. That's easy. You know where they're at. You got tables all over the place. Join a women's group that meets at the local bookstore once a month, once a week. There's a peace group that meets at your church. If you're, going to the kind of church where people are going to vote for the first woman president. Go to the next meeting at your union hall. They're talking about this. Maybe there's a local meetup happening around Harris at a bar or a restaurant or someplace, a cafe. Go online. Find this out. There's a gathering going down right now in some park where people are sitting around talking about what they can do to help Vice President Harris to become the president. You've got a date scheduled for tonight. You got an online date. You haven't met this person yet. What better time than the first date to talk about this? Because that way too, you'll know whether there should be a second date. Listen, my friends, I'm telling you, unless you live in Montana or an island off Maine, you are potentially less than a mile or two right now from some group of people, maybe just a few people, who are sitting around struggling with how to defeat Donald Trump. Go online and find them. And if you can't find them, then just call one friend of yours and one sibling. That's it. Your group is going to start with 3 people, a sibling and a friend. And tell them that. Let's start the group, and you can be the group leader for now. Why not do this? Oh, I know what you're thinking. Oh, they're going to say, who put you in charge? Tell them I did. Tell them, well, he seems to know a few things. He's an Eagle Scout. He said he was former Davison Index Paper Boy of the Year. He's got an Oscar. I know that gives him special powers. I know it because he was bragging about it. He has special powers in 103 countries around the world just by being an Oscar winner and having that gold statue there in front of him constantly. Well, they're only telling you the truth. So, therefore, to all of you who are listening, I anoint each and every one of you as a Harris campaign leader and or block captain. That's right. I'm talking to you, Marianne. You live in the 300 block of Oak Street in Oshkosh, Wisconsin. You are now block captain. If you find out they've already got a block captain, ask to be the co-captain. And by the way, congratulations for this appointment. Block captain, campaign leader, wherever you live. Maybe you're in an apartment building. Just be the floor captain. You live on the 7th floor of your apartment building. You're the 7th floor captain. Again, remind them why you have this authority and how you attained it. And then serve your people well. Be generous in spirit. And please do not hold mind-numbing, suffocating meetings. Too many meetings. This is why people quit groups. You need action, activities only. Don't allow people to get involved in all the nonsensical talk about things that have nothing to do with defeating Donald Trump. We want no drama, Kamala. No drama, Kamala. If you need to look that up, look up no drama, Obama. That's how they ran that campaign. My friends, we are out of time. Out of time. And that's why I'm going to call an end to this. That's it for today. You've got the 3 steps here. I'll just do a quick recap. Step 1, get your head straight and get your game face on and remind yourself we are the majority. And in doing that, it means that you're going to go public now to inspire others. You're going to make a yard sign and put it in your yard. And you're going to go find the local storefront office of the Democrats in your neighborhood or your town and tell them to put you to work. That's it. That's step 1. Step 2, U plus 3 makes America free. If you vote by yourself, we lose. You got to get 3 other people that you're going to guarantee to us to get them to vote. You're going to find 3 like-minded people who normally don't vote and get them to vote on election day or before in early voting. And then step 3, it's really just a reminder. You are not alone. Join in community. Join with others in your community, whatever that means to you. It's a mass movement of millions. You don't have to do this alone. It'll be a lot more fun doing it with other people. And what we're all going to feel on November 6th, the day after the election, the feeling will be so profound, it'll be unlike anything we felt in our lives. So that's it for today. Coming up on the next few podcasts, I'll be talking about obviously other issues, but also this. I'll be giving you new items for your Election 2024 Toolkit. We're going to talk about how to do campaigning, how to do registration, how to make a difference when you live in a state where it looks like the vote has already been decided, how we can help out the swing states. All of this will be upcoming in future podcasts. Okay, well, I think just in closing, there's lots more going on this week. There's no word as to who the vice presidential pick will be. And I posted a thing this weekend, just a note to the vice president and her campaign that we're sure that whoever it is will be a good pick. That she's a good person. She knows what to do. She's been there herself. And, of the ones that I've seen mentioned, I think there's 4 of them probably. If I were picking, that's who I would pick, but I'm not picking because I'm not running for president of the United States. So I don't really get a say in this, but there are good people running for this endeavor, and the 1 or 2, well, actually 1 of you who isn't that good. I've already talked about you before on my podcast and on TV, and you know who you are. And I hope it's not you, but I don't get a say in this. So All I care about is to hear the words President Harris on January 20th of the new year here. So we'll hope for the best here in the next couple of days. And then I see that she's going to the key swing states here this week. So that's good. She'll be in Michigan and Wisconsin, already ahead of a prior Democratic candidate that refused to visit Michigan and Wisconsin and lost. So Kamala Harris will be in those two states and in Pennsylvania and Arizona and Georgia and North Carolina. Looks good. Looks good. Sounds good. Looking forward to it. Donald Trump, as we've seen, has chickened out on the scheduled debate for September 10th on ABC. He says he's already made his own deal with Fox, and she's welcome to come on Fox with him at some arena. So we'll see what happens. I know just for pure entertainment, we'd love to see her debate him. Debate is probably too polite of a word. So we'll see what happens. What happens with that. And okay, well then we got more JD Vance coming our way this week. I have no clue what that's going to be. But he already did his number with the cat ladies. So I can only imagine what group of people are in store for his vitriol this week. So yes, it will prove, I'm sure, to be another crazy, insane week. Wednesday will be 10 months of the massacre of Israeli citizens in the south of Israel, near the Gazan border, October 7th, 2023. So I might have a few things I want to say about that. So lots going on. Stay tuned here. Look for the podcast. Look forward to writing more on my Substack, my column, my essays that I write. I've got a couple of good thoughts. And I guess maybe I'll close on that. A good thought I will send out to President Jimmy Carter. Yesterday, his family said that he's actually doing better. He's in hospice. He's been in hospice for a better part of the year. Nobody thought he was going to last this long. The doctors did. He's still alert. He's still present. He's the family is actually, you can tell, very happy that he's still with us and still with them. And he wanted them to convey something to the rest of us yesterday. And that was he's going to turn 100 on September 13th, next month. And he's going to have a birthday party in Atlanta. Lots of different singers, musicians, others are showing up for it. He says, but the main reason he wants to live to September, to stay alive, to hit 100, is because he doesn't want to leave us before he gets to vote. He can't believe that it's possible. This is what he's saying, that he's going to maybe actually possibly live, not just to see the first woman as president of the United States, but to actually vote for her. He wants to vote. And he wants to vote for this woman, who he has enormous respect and love for, Kamala Harris. And I'm not sure exactly when early voting begins in Georgia, probably like the rest of the country. It's going to start sometime near the end of September, beginning of October. And it sounded like he was just going to refuse to pass away until he got his last vote in. And this is who he is. And this is who we know who he is. To the very end. Happy early birthday, President Carter. Thank you for everything. Thank you for the friendship that you've shown me in the past. Thank you for everything you've done for the people in this world who maybe don't have everything they probably should have. Thank you for building their homes. Thank you for monitoring their elections. Thank you for your wonderful wife who has just left us, Rosalind. And your great kids. All of you. We'll leave on that. Thanks again to my executive producer and editor, Angelo Vargos. Thank you to my other editors and researchers and people that helped me put this together, David Chankula, Donald Bornstein, and others. Thank you, all of you, and thank you for listening to this today here on my podcast. This is Michael Moore. Be well and get off the bench. Take care.